another thing is that some people might say, well, that was Moses, when the God and the experience and everything was Moses. But I just want us to maybe look deeply into the principle, how God deals with us like today, because now we were looking at the experience of Moses with God to see what we can learn from that experience and how that will help us to understand God better. Now, I don't have a rod. I don't, I don't even, I might not even know, like, in terms of that was physical thing. I don't even know what, could it be like, or what do you have, or maybe my phone? What is it? So, is it, the thing I want, is it that God is asking everybody what you have in your hand, and then you talk that people are blinded with the insignificance, where what you have in your hand might just be maybe a figurative statement for us now.
Yeah.
But if we look at that deeper and we look deeply into that, it's almost like I don't know, but the way I'm looking at the question is almost like when God asked that question, because God can see Moses. He knows that it's a word.
Of course, he knows that
there is
something inside.
What do you have in your hand? It's almost like he's trying to get Moses to think and see, do you realize that what you have has potential beyond what you think it is?
Yeah, exactly so. Exactly so. And if you realize that, as I said earlier, the rod is a kind of a symbol, because Moses uses that rod every single day for his work, the work he's doing, for his job. That's what he's using for his career. That's his tool. And for us today, we might ask ourselves, what have I got in order to carry out my day-to-day activities? What is my passion? What are the things that burns within my heart? What are the things that I am doing on a day-to-day basis? What's my career? Maybe you say maybe I'm a tradesman, I'm a carpenter, I'm a plumber or engineer. But you don't know what God can use that for.
That's it. We don't know what God can use. That's the thing. Because for all Moses knew, and that's why he said it's a shepherd's rod.
Yeah.
But you don't know. For all
exactly.
I know is, I'm just maybe a delivery man. I'm just this kind of person. The way we define ourselves, or what do I have? I just have this thing. We don't know what God can use it for. See, because any time, when you minister, the whole week I'm just going back with those things. I'm thinking to myself, I said, what do I have? I've been asking myself the question, what do I have? What do I have? You say people are blinded because of the insignificance of what they have. They don't think too much of it.
Yeah.
And so that blinds their view. But because Moses was blinded by the insignificance of that doesn't stop God moving Moses to the next level.
Yeah.
So Moses said, okay, what do you have? Moses said, well, it's a shepherd's rod. Well, Moses, you are blinded. You have no idea. But that didn't stop God.
No.
So it took, like you said, you were mentioning something towards the end. Obedience.
Yeah.
Because now, God said, throw it. That's no problem. Throw it. But you throw the rod, it turns into snake. Not only that, turns into snake, you can run away. That you can deal with.
It's a big talk.
You turn into snake, it turned into snake, you can run away, or you can find stone or something, or, to prevent yourself and all these things. But then you have to pick it up.
Picked by the tail.
And you pick it up by the tail. Now, I don't know too much about all these things, but I know my limited idea knowledge is to defeat a snake or to be very safe when you're handling a snake. It's not the tail that you hold, it's the head. Because you hold the tail, the snake can turn and bite you. So that takes a huge amount of faith
and trust, yeah.
And trust
in God, yeah.
In God.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think because of that, it changed the whole narrative about Moses and his walk with God. That's what defines it. Because if you look at Moses' life, you would say, okay, well, he has had all these mishaps in life. He had all these kind of failures. He had all these challenges that came his way. You know, we realize that, in such situations where people have got all this kind of challenge of mishaps and failures, it discourages them. That is enough to tell yourself, no, I don't think I'm capable of doing this because I'm not qualified. You've disqualified himself already. And maybe God should have looked at that and say, well, oh, this man is not fit. Based on what he has done, based on all what, he's went through and his background, his credential, it doesn't speak well of him. He should not be qualified to carry on God's work. But God looked at him, but God wasn't seeing the mishaps. He was seeing the potential in this man.
Because he's the one that made him.
Exactly.
Moses moved from someone taking revenge on his own hand to someone interceding when God was saying that, no, these people are stiff-necked people, I'm going to wipe them out. Moses said, no, God, you can't do that. Really standing against, opposing God, that you cannot destroy these people. He moved from the people are grumbling against him and everything. He moved from that to kind of paying back, to standing in the gap on behalf of the people.
Yeah, exactly. And that I think that came as a result of his personal experience with God. From delivering the children of Israel and then going up into Mount Sinai, God giving him all the instructions. That's a massive thing. Even dividing the Red Sea, coming through the Red Sea and getting all the people on the other side. And then Mount Sinai's experience, that's a massive, massive thing. Because that alone changes his relationship with God. He knew that God is such a supernatural being that he is able to face because of the kind of experience he has got with God. And so he can talk to God. He can tell God, no, God, you can't do
that. There's something as I was thinking, the title, well, I know, you look beyond, at times you don't pay too much attention to the title. It's worth more to be considered. And I've been thinking about it's worth more to be considered. Wow. See, now we're in the prime position. It's like when Jesus would give parables, the disciples will ask the questions. So I'm asking the questions. It's worth more to be considered.
Yes. As I said, yes. For me to get to this title yesterday, it was quite. I had to change it. Several times, because the whole idea about this is the fact that people have something, or they don't know the worth of it. People are blessed. They are well equipped, or they don't even realize that
they're more to be considered.
Yeah, it's worth more to be considered, because sometimes you look at it, it's just a grain of rice. It doesn't worth anything. It has no value. It's just a stick.
To be considered
It's just a stick, so it doesn't worth anything, so you can't consider it. So that now is more figurative, but you as a person, someone like Gideon says, I'm the least in my tribe. I've not been considered. I have no value in terms of the kind of thing you're asking me to do. I am not fit to do that because in terms of the credential, I don't have it. Based on my clan, based on my tribe, I'm not qualified to do that. And so, even though you look at yourself too small, we are worth much more to be considered. Well, that consideration doesn't come from man. That consideration came from God. And so God is seeing you much more than how you see yourself. You may see yourself as someone who is incapable, but God has invested something in you since creation, since you were born, because He knew that there's coming a time when He will want to use that. Yeah, so He has invested that in you. But one thing people don't understand is this: that every individual, whether be Christians, whether be non-Christians, whether be good or whether be evil, God has invested something in each and every man. And that investment in every man is for a time. So that at the right time, that investment will come within God's plan and agenda at the right time of executing it.
Wow. Then I'm just thinking the thing you said about Gideon being considered. Whilst you're saying that, I just thought to myself, society, to be considered, you have to present your credentials. Hence, certain jobs, they will ask for your CV.
Yeah, exactly so.
Before you are even called for interview, they will read through the CV, and the CV, the way you present the thing you say, then they will consider you. During the interviews, for them to make a confirmation of the things that
you've
written, what you've said, they have so many questions, and based on that, then they say you are now fit for the job. But so many times, in fact, all the time, God operates the opposite from the way the world operates.
Exactly.
So if we want to really get a glimpse of understanding of how God operates, let's look at how the world operates. And just look at the opposites. Because, I mean, you want to run for office of any type, say leadership or certain position, you have to put your qualification first. But with God, He doesn't look at qualification. It is the calling. He calls you, then He qualifies you. Because He's the one that gives you. He calls you and He makes you. You know, that's why when Jesus was on earth, the Pharisees, they couldn't figure Him out. They had so much problem because Jesus called disciples not from the synagogue. From the
He
went to the treasury where you have these crooks, these fraudsters. He called these people, all the people He called, they were fraudsters, they were saying, and then the Pharisees, they didn't get it. So that's encouraging in a way, like for us as Christians. That's not a license for us to say, oh, well, that's it. Oh, well, I'm just going to be living my life anyhow, God will call me anyway. But it's just for us to know that, look, in fact, we cannot be perfect.
We are far from perfection.
We are. And so when we stop with that and know that it's God Himself who makes us perfect, and you throw light on the aspect that God is the one who defines us.
Yeah.
I mean, that I have had a conversation with Alvia before when she was in year 8. At the time we were driving, I asked her, I said, who are you? And I think you manage your mom or your dad ask you and say, who are you? And I'm sure she was surprised. She was like, Alvia. I said, no. That's the name your mom and your dad gave you, but who are you? So that led into several discussions. That's what we've been used to. For me, that was really encouraging, and I'll take that this week, that to just go deeper to know who am I, because it is God who defines me. It's God who defines us, like you said. So I need to know, what is it that God have? What definition has God put on my life? What? Maybe there are some things. It's like some people want to know. They're thinking, well, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, but more I mean, when you deal with God, God speaks to you through revelation. He speaks to you as a person within your spirit, because your spirit is His. Because He gives you part of Himself. So He speaks to you, and He will use your spirit. And so the only way you can be able to get that is when you go back to God. For Moses to understand the things that God has given him, it came through the time he had with God, the conversations he had with God.
The secret place.
Say that dwell in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under His shadow. His shadow, it's not just only His shadow that covers you, His protection, but it also gives revelation. He also speaks to you. He also guides you. He also teaches you. He also unfolds things to you that He wants you to do. So there's a father and son relationship. So there's a close relationship whereby it tells you things. It tells you things. It tells you things of the future. It tells you things of the past that happened, or something that's going to happen to someone. It reveals things to you. It reveals things to you about yourself, about what you're capable of doing. It reveals things to you. I was giving an example about prophecies that have been spoken about my life, from the conferences where I attended. And so God uses someone else to speak to me. We're in the presence of God when that happened. There are 3 different, prophecies that came, and all interrelated. All of them interrelated. So God can only talk to you when you are in that quiet place. Moses was in the wilderness. Was far away from everyone else. He was in the wilderness, and not only that, he was close to the mountain of God called Mount Sinai.
Wow.
So he was at a place where God he can hear God, and God can get his attention. He was away from everyone else. He was away from the chaos. He was away from all the usual things that happens. He was in a quiet place. And that's why God was able to get his attention. He was in a quiet place.